So let's move on to, so first system is like the owner system. So this is going to be the one where you got to be like, think about it as an owner, right? Because you as the owner are the biggest limiting factor in growing your business. It's nothing else. It's not, I'm going to talk about these couple things in a minute. These other factors, they are not the factor. It's you. It's as the owner. And you have to be able to have kind of the right mindset and approach to think about it. Otherwise, you're going to stay at whatever size you're at forever. So, cool. Cash system. So now this is number 2. So first we need to get the right mindset. Then the next we have to think about money, right? And there's a couple things here. First is you really have to have an understanding of your big numbers. In most businesses, it's going to be these 4, variable, fixed. All right. So you're going to have 4 big cost categories of your business. And so you should know right now, like if I said, hey, last month, like what was your business's payroll percentage? What was your cost of goods percentage? What's your variable cost and what's your monthly like fixed cost? I can tell you right now, for our stores, we want payroll at about 27%. We want cost of goods about 23%. Our variable cost is about 12% because we pay minus 10% for royalties and stuff, and then we have about 2% or so in credit card fees. So like every single sale, whether we're doing, we do 50 million, 100 million, 5 million, 10 million, whatever, we have 12% we got to pay, right? Doesn't matter. And then fixed costs. Like I know my average store costs me $25,000 a month, something like that, to run. We're like outside of like fixed payroll costs. And so like I could look at a report every single week and tell you last week, if payroll was 30%, cost of goods was like 27, variable's always going to be the same. I could pretty much tell you like, did we make money or not? Because I'm like, all right, and with all this, our goal is 15% net. And I could tell you that if we lost 3 points here up in our payroll, if we lost 4 points here in our cost of good, that's 7 points. And, so I'm probably going to be about 8% that week just because I know my numbers so well that like week to week, I don't even need to wait for I don't even need to wait for the account, like our team to finish the books, any of that stuff, because the business literally comes down to these 4 numbers. And in fact, it's actually much simpler than that because what it really comes down to in my business is our sales and our pay percentage. Now this is going to vary depending on, what your business is. But my point here is like from a system approach, you need to boil your business down to the simplest terms possible to like the number, like, and I'll show you in mine here that everything else, like it doesn't matter what everything else is because if you can nail these 2 numbers, everything else looks fine. All right. So for example, cost of goods, like our cost of goods is really 23%. It's 24%. Maybe it goes to 25. Some are 22, whatever. But like, it's actually extremely steady. We don't have weeks. It would be pretty rare for me to have a 27 or a 30 or higher than that. It would also be really rare for me to have like less than 20%. Like it's pretty steady between 23 to 25. So like in my mind, I don't really think about it because I know it's going to be a steady number. I also know my variable cost, right? Which is like my cost I pay to Midas is also an extremely fixed number. It's literally 12%, 12.5%, well, whatever. It depends on like, did we swipe more American Express cards that week or not? But it's not going to vary significantly. So in my mind, I'm like, all right, I don't have to think about this. I don't have to think about that. Then I've got my fixed costs and I've got my payroll. Okay. So this is how I think about it. Fixed costs don't change. Right? For me, it's $25,000 a month. It is what it is roughly per store. And so the goal is that you drive revenue high enough to dilute your fixed costs, right? So that your numbers can fall in line. So for example, I could just tell you, if we did $25,000 in like revenue per store, and if payroll was at, let's say 27%, I am probably going to be around, I would say 14% that week as like our net. Okay. like which includes like depreciation, that includes like interest and specs and stuff like that. All right. I know for a fact that if we do like $22,000 that and payroll is, let's say it's 30%, our net that week is probably going to be like maybe 5%. We're barely going to make money, right? Just because when the sales drop, that means the fixed costs eat up a larger percentage of your profit. And then also because your sales are down, the salaries that you have to pay to your managers is going to eat up a higher percentage as well, right? And so these are the only two levers that I really care about are what are we doing in terms of for me, it's our average sales per store, and like what is our pay percentage? Similarly, like if we do $30,000 and payroll is at like 25%, I don't know why I put a percentage up here. All right, so this is sales and this is pay. If we do 30,000 at 25%, we are probably going to be like, we could be like 16 to 17%, right? Because I know that we're driving volume, diluting costs and fixing your pay. The only way that I've got to this point is because I've spent a lot of time in my P&Ls, in the numbers, just going over and and I've created some other content around this. I have like a basic course. If you guys want to like kind of see my whole process, you could buy it. I could drop it in a link below. It's relatively inexpensive, but basically going through the entire process to figure all this stuff out so that later you can know your numbers. I talk to owners all the time and I'll ask them, well, what's your pay percentage? What's your net? And they just don't know. They're like, oh, I don't know what it is. Right. And it's going to be really hard to and a lot of this I come back to is being intentional. Like you want to be intentional with as much part of your business as you can do, whether that is how you spend your time, how you spend your money, and what changes you need to make. And so it's hard to be intentional though, and like take action if you don't know what your numbers are, right? So that is the first part of it is knowing that. From there, I'm going to look to do, now it depends on what it is, but what's called a break-even analysis. So we're opening new stores, right? We opened one in February. I opened one in July. We've got, we're trying to get 3 or 4, maybe 5 more new stores this year. And so a big part of me, the scariest part of opening a new store is you start from zero, right? You start from zero, and it's this question of how long until you make money. That is the scariest part, for me at least, to say, how long am I going to lose money until I make money? And now this store is like, at least supports itself, right? It can cash flow itself. And then from there, there's like a limited upside, right? Like, I don't care as much about like, oh, I got to make this store has to make $200,000 in the first year. All I care about is breaking even. I just don't want to lose money, right? It's like Warren Buffett's first rule, just don't lose money. And so one of the exercises that you really want to understand, and this is part of like understanding your own P&L, is which is exactly how much do you have to do in revenue to break even, right? And so for most of my stores, I just kind of know that at this point, it's about $75,000 a month that I have to do in revenue, assuming payroll is good, cost of goods is, or rent's not crazy, in order for the business to make money. And so once we know what that goal is, it helps increase confidence that we can go out there and achieve it. But if not, if I didn't know what my cost to break even was, or if I thought that, hey, for me to break even, like I need to do, I don't know, $150,000 in revenue, and my average store right now does, I don't know, let's say 30,000. Like that would be a pretty stupid idea, at least, in my world, because like my store's only doing, like my average store is 130. Yeah, my best do 300. But if I brought a new store on and the break even is like 120, 130, and like that's just a much higher risk, right? And you're going to have a way more confidence versus, hey, all I need the store is to do 75. I can handle that. No big deal. We can go from there.